Have you ever met someone who seems to live in a universe of their own? People who make reality bend in front of them, as if they had a secret power that protects, guides, and favors them in everything. The truth is that this power isn't an exclusive gift. It's a frequency of invincibility, a vibrational state so elevated that the physical world has no choice but to align with it. And the big reveal? You can access it too. In this video, you're going to understand how to create a frequency so strong that reality will start to obey you. We're going to dive deeply into the principles that govern the universe, into creative consciousness, and into how to break the cycle of obedience to circumstances. Write in the comments, "I am the frequency that transforms reality." This powerful affirmation not only attracts good vibrations, it anchors your decision to take command of your life. Let's begin. Long before modern science began investigating the mysteries of consciousness, the Mexican psychologist and neurophysiologist Jacobo Grinberg was already stating that reality isn't something fixed, but a projection shaped by the human mind. In his synthesis theory, Grinberg proposed that there is a unified field of information, the neural field, that interacts with a pre-space field, that is, the matrix of reality, and that the brain works as a decoder of this vast vibrational network. Reality, therefore, is the result of our pattern of attention, belief, and state of consciousness. This same view is reflected in quantum physics, in the observer principle, and also in Hermetic teachings like the law of vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates, and those vibrations determine what is attracted into our experience. Therefore, creating a frequency so strong that reality obeys isn't magic, it's spiritual science. When you understand that it is consciousness that shapes matter, you realize you're not here to be a slave to circumstances, but to command them. In this video, we're going to apply this knowledge on a solid foundation so you can break through the limits of the ego and access your true creative nature. The greatest illusion we were taught from an early age is that we are a consequence of the world around us. We grow up believing that our emotions, decisions, and even our identity are shaped by what we live through, the family we were born into, the experiences we had, the challenges we faced. But that's a reversed perspective on reality. In truth, you are the cause, and everything you experience is the effect of your consciousness. Jacobo Grinberg stated that there is a unified field of information, an invisible mesh where all possibilities already exist. What we call reality is only the slice of that mesh we can access with our senses and the filter of our mind. And that filter is shaped by what you believe, feel, and focus on repeatedly. In other words, the reality you live is a direct reflection of the frequency you emit. That's why two people living the same situation can have completely different experiences. One finds solutions, miracles, synchronicities. The other sees only blocks, fear, and failure. What changes isn't the facts, but the field of consciousness each one is vibrating in. You don't live what is true in the world. You live what is true for you. This is the key to start creating a frequency so strong that reality has to obey. From the moment you understand that your consciousness is shaping everything you see, feel, and attract, you stop being a plaything of circumstances. You start to run the game. And here comes an uncomfortable truth. If you're living in scarcity, conflict, or repeating problems, it's because at some level, your energy is resonating with that. This isn't about blame. It's about conscious responsibility. As long as you keep vibrating like a victim, the universe will keep reflecting situations that reinforce that identity. The universe doesn't respond to what you want intellectually. It responds to what you vibrate energetically. If you want abundance but vibrate lack, reality answers to lack. If you want love but vibrate rejection, that's what returns. Therefore, to flip this game, you need a powerful decision. You must start behaving as the cause of your experience, not as its effect. Consciousness comes before matter. Everything that exists began first as a vibration, an idea, an inner state. Even the body you inhabit is constantly reorganizing according to your energy. It's not reality that should tell you who you are. You decide through your vibration which version of reality you will experience. This is the first step to activate the frequency of invincibility, recognizing that you are not the effect. You are the cause. The reality we perceive with our five senses seems concrete, solid, unquestionable. However, that perception is only a tiny fraction of what truly exists. Modern physics, especially quantum mechanics, has shown that what we call matter is actually energy in vibration, organized in a way our senses can interpret as form, sound, smell, color, and texture. But everything is, essentially, vibration. Jacobo Grinberg called this sensory reality the illusory layer, a kind of projection that forms when the unified field of consciousness interacts with the structure of the human brain. In other words, what you see, touch, and feel as reality is only a reflection conditioned by your inner perception. And that reflection is shaped not by an absolute external world, but by your beliefs, emotions, and mental patterns. This is where most people fall into an invisible trap. They identify with circumstances. When a bill is overdue, they believe they're poor. When they're rejected, they believe they're not good enough. When they face difficulties, they believe the world is against them. Yet all these interpretations are formed by a temporary state of consciousness, not by an absolute truth. Matter is the densest plane of existence. It's the last to react and the first to deceive. When you look at your physical reality and take it as the ultimate truth, you're allowing the lowest frequency, the material world, to dictate your worth, your potential, and your possibilities. That's living from the outside in. It's the opposite of living as a creative being. Ancient spiritual traditions have spoken about this. Hermeticism teaches that there are three main planes: the spiritual, the original cause; the mental, the plane of ideas and emotions; and the physical, the effect. We exist in all of them, but most people stay imprisoned in the physical plane, taking as truth everything the senses show and forgetting that this is only the final result of a long vibrational chain that began within. You are not your bank balance. You are not your history of failures. You are not your traumas. All of that is experience lived in an illusory, dense, passing plane. The truth of your being lies beyond matter. Your true identity is in the spiritual and mental field, where you are creative, expansive, unlimited energy. When you stop identifying with what you see and start identifying with the energy you choose to emanate, something begins to transform. Matter, in time, bends to the new frequency. The mistake is wanting to see the change before you feel it, but frequency comes first. Form is the consequence. Therefore, breaking your identification with circumstances is an act of power. You choose who you are regardless of what surrounds you. Reality is malleable. Your consciousness is the force that shapes it. You are born as a pure expression of consciousness, an unlimited vibrational being connected to source, free, without filters. But as you grow and begin to interact with the world, something starts to form within you, the ego. And here is the key: the ego is not you. The ego is a construction based on the external world. It's a reflection of the ways you learned to protect yourself, to fit in, and to survive in a limited reality. The ego is shaped by the experiences you lived, the words you heard, the traumas you faced, the praise you received, and the expectations placed on you. It is the you that was created to function within the system of the physical world. And since the physical world is conditioned by scarcity, competition, fear, and external validation, the ego also operates by those same codes. That's why the ego doesn't seek truth, it seeks safety. It wants predictability, wants to please, wants to feel accepted. And to do that, it will do anything to keep you stuck in old patterns, even when they are deeply limiting you. It builds an identity based on circumstances, and with that, it reinforces the cycle of obedience to reality, the opposite of the frequency of invincibility. The ego vibrates at the frequency of survival. It lives in what if, in I can't, in I have to prove my worth. And more importantly, it identifies with the material world because it was generated from it. If you want to create a new reality based on expansion, freedom, abundance, and truth, you need to learn to notice the ego and not mistake yourself for it. That doesn't mean destroying or fighting the ego. In fact, the ego can be useful as an interface, a tool. The problem is when you forget it's only a character and start believing it is you. When that happens, your frequency gets limited to the character's narrative. And characters don't create realities. The one who creates is the consciousness that observes. The ego will always try to keep you in the known, even if that means suffering. It will say it's not safe to change, that you can't trust, that you don't deserve more. It will use your story against you. It will make you cling to the identity of victim, of limited, of inferior, because for the ego, leaving that is risky. It feels like dying. But here's the key. When you start observing the ego without identifying with it, you activate your higher consciousness. And at that point, you begin to vibrate at a level the ego can't reach. You become the presence that chooses, not the character that reacts. If you want to create a frequency so strong that reality obeys you, you need to free yourself from the ego's vibrational prison. You need to remember that the ego was created by past experiences, but you are the consciousness that can create a new version of yourself now. The frequency of invincibility is not a mystical state reserved for enlightened beings. It's a conscious vibrational choice, available to anyone who decides to take responsibility for their inner state. This frequency doesn't mean the absence of challenges, but a level of consciousness so high and cohesive that no external circumstance has the power to throw you off your center. To access it, you need to understand that your thoughts, emotions, and identity are not separate elements. They form the tripod of your vibration. When they're misaligned, you emit contradictory signals to the universe. But when they're integrated, you become a highly coherent magnetic field, and reality reconfigures to reflect this new vibration. Everything begins with thought. It's the initial spark of creation. But an isolated thought, without emotional force and without being rooted in identity, has no creative power. That's why repeating positive affirmations alone doesn't transform reality. You need to feel what you think and be what you feel. Emotion is the energy that gives life to thought, and identity is the ground where that emotion takes root. If you think of abundance but feel fear and identify as someone who lacks, your vibrational field is in conflict. But if you think of abundance, feel trust, and see yourself as someone worthy and prosperous, your frequency becomes clear, strong, and magnetic. That is what creates the field of invincibility. This frequency requires vigilance. It's not about obsessively controlling thoughts, but about cultivating awareness of which thoughts you allow to grow. Thoughts of fear, comparison, and failure are seeds that produce matching fruit. Letting those seeds take root is giving up your vibrational power. And here comes emotional mastery. You don't need to feel good all the time, but you do need to know how to reconnect to your center. Emotions come and go, but invincibility is born when you stop getting lost in them. You learn to witness sadness without being swallowed by it. You learn to welcome fear without letting it command your decisions. You learn to choose consciously the state you wish to vibrate. Finally, all of this anchors in identity. Who do you believe you are? What is the inner image that sustains your vibration? You can try to think and feel differently, but if you still see yourself as a victim, inferior, inadequate, or limited, your vibrational field will be inconsistent. The frequency of invincibility requires that you see yourself as a creative, worthy, complete, expansive being, even if the world says otherwise. Reality responds to your most dominant frequency, and your most dominant frequency is the result of coherence between what you think, feel, and believe yourself to be. When these three pillars are aligned, you don't beg for change, you emanate it, and then it comes. Keeping your vibration high in times of peace and flow is simple. But the true power of the frequency of invincibility reveals itself when everything around you seems to be falling apart, and still you remain centered, serene, and connected to the invisible. This is the point where many give up. It's here that most people revert to the old vibration, reinforcing the pattern that reality rules more than consciousness. What we need to understand is that visible reality is always a delayed effect. It's showing the reflection of your past frequency, not your current one. Therefore, if you want to transform it, you can't react to it. You must keep your vibration steady in the new state until the change manifests. Tuning into the invisible means having faith not as blind belief, but as a level of certainty that doesn't depend on sensory evidence. It's choosing the vibration of abundance, even when there is apparent scarcity. It's maintaining the energy of love, even when you feel alone. It's trusting that something is organizing in your favor, even without understanding how. This vibrational stance requires three fundamentals: presence, observation, and reprogramming. Presence is the state of being here, now, in your body, feeling what you're feeling without judging yourself. Pain, anxiety, doubt, all these emotions are legitimate, but they only dominate when you reject them or get lost in them. By bringing presence, you activate the highest part of yourself, the one that observes without reacting and can consciously choose the next vibrational state. Observation is the next step. You begin to notice the thoughts that arise when reality challenges you. Do phrases come up like, "This always happens to me," "I'll never get out of this," "I'm not capable"? These phrases aren't truths. They're old programs, products of the conditioned ego, and this is where the power to reprogram comes in. Reprogramming isn't just mental. It happens when you choose to vibrate differently, even when everything around you invites you to vibrate the same. You see the chaos, but decide not to identify with it. You feel fear, but don't bow to it. You acknowledge the pain, but anchor yourself in your essence. Staying in a high vibration isn't being positive at all costs. It's being truthful, conscious, and intentional. It's recognizing that your vibrational field is sacred and will not be violated by external circumstances. When you sustain this frequency, reality inevitably begins to align. And when it doesn't align immediately, it's not punishment, it's a test. An invitation to prove that you're no longer reacting to matter, but commanding matter from the invisible. That's the point at which you become unshakable. Not because everything always goes right, but because you've become greater than any circumstance. After aligning thought, emotion, and identity, the inevitable question arises, what should I do now? And here lies one of the great confusions on the spiritual and vibrational path, the idea that only action produces results. What few understand is that acting without being vibrationally aligned is like sowing seeds in barren soil. The effort is great, but the result is minimal. The action that transforms reality isn't just any action, it's inspired action, the kind that is born from alignment with your highest state of consciousness. It's action that flows as an extension of your state of being, not as a reaction to fear, haste, or the need to control. When you act from anxiety or scarcity, you're vibrating from absence, and you manifest more absence. Listening to intuition is the first step to acting with aligned energy. Intuition doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't justify or try to convince, it simply points the way with lightness and coherence with your inner state. The problem is that many don't hear it because they're still too busy trying to please the ego, which wants quick answers and immediate certainties. The difference between forced action and aligned action lies in the feeling that accompanies it. Forced action is heavy, tiring, and driven by urgency. Aligned action is light, precise, and usually accompanied by a sense of peace, even in the face of uncertainty. This action can be silent, a decision, a change of posture, a firm no, or a step toward what you truly want to live, even without guarantees. Acting with aligned energy also requires that you let go of attachment to immediate results. This isn't passivity, it's vibrational wisdom. It's knowing that by acting in coherence with your energetic field, you've already planted the seed in the field of possibilities. The timing of manifestation isn't in your hands, but sustaining the frequency is. Another essential point is understanding that the most powerful action isn't always external. In many cases, the most transformative action is vibrational, choosing peace instead of reaction, choosing trust instead of control, choosing expansion instead of self-protection. These inner actions reorganize your field and alter the path ahead of you. The universe doesn't respond to your action, it responds to your vibration. And when action is a reflection of the right vibration, it doesn't need effort, it has power. That's why, before you act, align. Before you chase, grow quiet. Before you force, feel. The path of the frequency of invincibility is made of steps taken from the truth of your being, and what is yours will come. Not because you forced it, but because you became compatible with it. Now that you understand that reality is shaped by your frequency and not by chance, it's time to leave the realm of theory and enter the realm of practice. Because knowing without applying is like turning on a light and keeping your eyes closed. The frequency of invincibility isn't something you wait to happen. It's something you cultivate daily with intention, presence, and truth. Start by observing your thoughts with more awareness. Question what you're feeling. Redefine who you believe yourself to be. Remember, what you vibrate today is what creates your tomorrow. Change doesn't begin in the world. It begins in you. If this content spoke to your soul, commit to this new vibration. Choose to rise above circumstances. Choose conscious creation. Choose the truth of your essence. And above all, don't walk this journey alone. Subscribe to the channel to keep receiving content that sustains your elevated frequency. Leave your comment with the affirmation, "My frequency commands my reality." This way, you anchor that decision on the vibrational plane, and the universe begins to respond. You're not here to obey reality. You're here to command it.